Good morning. That's a beautiful song to introduce us to our topic this morning, because we're talking about giving, and the question is, what do I have to give? And so I like that inquiry that's in the song. Do I give enough? Do I trust enough? It's wonderful. I've been thinking about that. I've been reading our founder, Ernest Holmes, on the topic of giving and receiving to see what he has to say about it. And there's this bit in Living the Science of Mind that I brought along with me to read. It goes like this. One of the laws of radiation, and he's talking about a scientific law and comparing it to the way we live our spiritual lives and the way of things in the spiritual life. It says one of the laws of radiation says that the absorbing power of a substance is equal to its emitting power, which means that the ones that absorb the most must be the ones who emit the most. Or to state the proposition in another way, we can take in only what we give out. As Jesus said, given it shall be given unto you. Well, there you have it. So we're done for the morning. We can go home. You can have the offering. Because, it's the way of things that the message is really simple, isn't it? But if you're like me, I have to hear it in a multitude of different ways so I can embrace it and embody it and become it and be refreshed by it over and over again. What do I have to give? So I've been thinking about this. We can only take in what we give out. And I brought a poem along because in the language of poetry, like music, can go to places where words alone by themselves cannot get there. So this is a poem from the Santa Cruz poet Ellen Bass. And it goes like this. What if you knew you would be the last to touch someone? If you were taking tickets, for example, at the theater, tearing them, giving back the ragged stubs, you might take care to touch that palm and brush your fingertips along the lifeline's crease. When a man pulls his wheeled suitcase too slowly through the airport, when the car in front of me doesn't signal, when the clerk at the pharmacy won't say, thank you, I don't remember, they're going to die. A friend told me she had been with her aunt. They had just had lunch, and the waiter, a young gay man with plum black eyes, joked as he served the coffee, kissed her aunt's powdered cheek when they left. Then they walked half a block and her aunt dropped dead on the sidewalk. How close does the dragon's spume have to come? How wide does the crack in heaven have to split? What would people look like if we could see them as they are, soaked in honey, stung and swollen, reckless, pinned against time? You see, when I started looking into this idea of what am I willing to give out, and I compared it to what I'm willing to receive, I noticed a discrepancy. It appears I want to receive more than I'm willing to put out. I'm just being honest with you. I remember a long time ago I was the chair of a clergy organization, and it was getting on the time for the holiday gift exchange. You know how that is. You bring a gift of a certain value, and of course the question came to me as the chair, well, what is the dollar amount? Because it's got to be fair. But I had been reading all of this about we can only take in what we can give out, and out of my mouth came the words, bring a gift that matches your consciousness of receiving. I didn't know what I was saying. It threw everybody into a spin. They said, no, really, Edward, stop messing around with us. We want to know what's the amount so it can be fair and proper. And, because you know how it is, we can get into matching dollar amounts and call that circulation. So I said to him, I don't know, because I didn't know. I was making it up, I said, well, what if you brought something that was according to your consciousness of receiving? What would that be like? And they were saying to me, oh, that's when all the what ifs come up. And oh, how many times I thwart progress with my what ifs and my imagined scenarios in the future, predicting all the ways a something can fail. They said to me, what about people who can't afford a lot? I said, I don't know. I mean, wouldn't whatever they brought, wouldn't make their gift so much more precious then? I mean, I had to face the same question that was coming up in me. I mean, what if I bring something fabulous and expensive and I get something crummy in return? It could happen. See, and in that moment, I know those are the moments when I get caught up in the dollar amount, when in my heart I know some of the most precious things I've ever received cost nothing and had more to do with the meaning in the heart of the giver. There is some insight from the teachings of Jesus in the story of the widow's mite, in which he compares the small contribution that a widow brings to make at the temple as her sacrifice in comparison to the rather large, substantial gift given by a wealthy person at the temple. Now, a mite is a small coin, the least of value. And at the time in Jerusalem, there was no such thing as a mite, by the way. I just mentioned that, because I don't know what to do with that. I mean, don't you think about that? I mean, if you're a literalist, I mean, it's a problem. I'm sorry, but I think about that. It's a Dutch word. It comes from the Netherlands. Pronounced mate. It means like a small, I think it's brass. They've even stopped in they were in circulation in the 1600s. But I'm going off on a tangent again. The point was that Jesus was explaining to his followers that even this tiny little contribution on behalf of the widow, it could possibly mean a whole lot more to her than the huge amount of money given by the wealthy person, because a widow in those days had zero income. So it might be more significant. And we don't know what is in the heart of the person, but the point of the story is not to get hooked up on the dollar amount, Edward. Right? That the dollar value of a gift is always relative to what is in the heart of the giver. What is a large amount for some persons might be pocket change for another. So don't get caught up on the amount. Just let your giving be genuine and let it grow you. So when I think about the answer to the question, what do I have to give? I'm trying to train myself to think less about product and dollar amount and to think more in terms of the heart feeling that is behind even the smallest thing that I give. So that when it comes time to give, that I think of what it means to me in my heart and that I be proud of the love that backs up the gift I give, whatever it is. And to trust my love. Whenever we talk about giving as a spiritual practice in the center, I start to receive letters and get calls from people who feel embarrassed about the substantial size, small or big, of their gift, or people who have stopped giving or going through. Often, I see it's a deep wound in our culture. And the journey is to get back to the love behind our giving, whatever it is. It's deep. On the other side of it, some wise person said, that which you cannot give away, you do not possess, it possesses you. And when I think about that, I think about the Amish community. I frequently think back to them and the lessons I've learned from them. The Amish community of Lancaster County in Pennsylvania, who had to give what they presumably wished to receive in the wake of losing their children to the shooter. I imagine that they probably wanted comfort. And that was the first thing that they gave away to the family of the shooter. And that stands for me as a powerful reminder and a message. And I look into that, I realize sometimes I wish to receive first before I give. I want understanding, but you take the first step. Even while at the same time I know with you that it is giving that is the key that unlocks the forward motion. It's not fair. It's just the way of things. One of the big metaphysical teachers of our time about prosperity, Catherine Ponder, writes these words. I invite you to read them with me. Most people today still have to learn that they cannot get something for nothing, but must give before receiving, or must sow before reaping. When they do not give, they make no contact with God's lavish abundance, and so there is no form through which the rich, unlimited substance of the universe can pour forth its riches to them. You know, I was reading that and I thought about India's hugging saint, Amma, who gives through her embrace, and then heaven pours itself through her. I remember seeing the preview of her movie, Darshan, and in it they ask her, what it's all about. And in this beautiful, radiant smile, she says she's discovered the secret of our universe and of peace, and it is in our embrace. And when they ask her, how can she get the energy to help so many people and to be present for so many people? And she says, well, where there is true love, anything is effortless. Giving then becomes the vehicle through which heaven pours itself. And it reminds me to trust what my gift means in my heart. No matter how big or how small it is, to trust it. And I'm remembering today that we all have something to give no matter what it is, whether that is a flower that we grow in the garden or change we find on the sidewalk, or whether it is stuff we clean out at our garage, or a photograph we find of a friend that we give to them with a beautiful note, or it's a previously loved book that we circulate, or it is clothes in your closet you're never going to wear again, or whether it's a this or a that. We've always got something. In fact, that's what the whole Unexpected Abundance free mini workshop is about in room 10 after every service, right? It's all about helping us to tune into what have I got to give, so that in that giving we can create the channel, the connection. And first-timers, newbies are welcome to attend. You'll get the free spiritual resource booklet, and you can start to track the flow of abundance in your life. I was looking around and I found some old pamphlets from the Institute of Religious Science. That's what we used to be called before, Church of Religious Science, Crazy name. I'm sorry. Anyway, this gentleman, Wayne Kintner, he was the administrator. I mean, so long ago, I don't even know the date. But this beautiful pamphlet on receiving has some powerful words for us. Won't you read these with me? You cannot become a living magnet and draw the things you want unto yourself unless you have the current of enthusiasm running through you. And you cannot become enthusiastic by thinking only of what you want out of life. You have to become exuberant enough for your thought energy to flow out from you. If you think only of what you want, You short circuit your thought energy currents. If you take an interest in only those things from which you think you can get something, you are limiting your thought energy current. Just saying. Right? Yes. There it is. And a great way to stimulate the exuberant energy is through giving to others in every way. I was reading Stephen Smith's blog, and he gives 5 great ways we can practice giving to stimulate that energy and have a life of meaning and connection. He says, for example, you could give by showing respect and courtesy to others. Because in doing so, and it seems such a small thing, but in doing so, something that anybody can do, in doing so, we open this energy flow and we contribute to the world. And I notice that it's the sort of thing anybody can give, and I don't have to wait for somebody to behave before I make that gift. The second thing he says we can practice giving, is to give through listening more than speaking. It's a tremendous contribution. I am certain, I trust this, that my listening can make a contribution to the world, to other people, because so few people have truly experienced the privilege of being listened to generously. Just listening is a major contribution and an energy opener that can lift up the world with compassion and our best attempt at understanding. He says the third thing is this: you can give genuine praise, which is a beautiful thought, because in our world there is so much phoniness, so much fakery in advertising, and this ongoing pressure on us to be, act, and think in a certain way. Then we find ourselves untrusting. So to practice giving genuine recognition of other people's contribution, oh, what a gift. And to do it in a non-oppressive way, without capturing in them and forcing your recognition on them. A drive-by compliment. Beautiful. And another thing, number 4, he says, here's a way. Keep your promises. That's a gift to the world. Not only will it give strength to your own character, but it will give people reason to trust you. Oh, what a gift. And the 5th one, he says, is you can give through practicing forgiveness, and that's self-explanatory. What that does. Anyway, this little pamphlet goes on to say, won't you read it with me? Give, give, give. Give of your thoughts, give of your prayers, give of your treatments, give of your time, give of your energy, give of your appreciation, give of your love, give of your praise, give of your suggestions only when asked. Give of your ideas, give of your substance, money, and other possessions that have been drawn unto you. Make room for more by giving of that which you now have. Give without thought of returns. Give without expecting some specific benefit in return. Give lovingly, happily, and enthusiastically. And I would say that This is the spirit of giving that I am trying to express today in our theme this month, that we give out of a sense of gratitude and celebration, not because we have to, but because we delight in it, because it is our religion to do so, not because we must, not because there is an expectation that we will, not because we will receive anything out of it other than what pours through us naturally when we make the connection, and through our giving become the channel through which heaven flows. It's very similar in this regard to forgiveness. You know, we forgive not because we have to, not because there is predictably something that we can receive out of doing so. Certainly not because it's fair, it's almost never fair. But because to not forgive and to not give is to not be ourselves. And it is to not feel good. So in summary today, I think this is the message summarized by Eric Butterworth. A committed giver is an incurably happy person. Or I would say it like this: consider that your giving has less to do with the product or the amount, and everything to do with the style, the how, the why behind your giving, the meaning of your heart that is behind the gift. Everything to do with that. See, that's the whole message for today. And so now this part is the bonus material. I have something extra for you. It's free. This is the advanced course now. We finished the whole part about giving now. This is the advanced course, only if you want it. If you want to enroll in the advanced course of giving, then go ahead and practice in the area where you are not giving. So then your task becomes to look into your own life to discover where in all of these areas that we've read about are you not giving. Because, people have different skill sets. Some people really have no issue with giving time and skills. Other people have no problem with sharing their wealth, their supply, their possessions. Still, other people have no problem with sharing praise and attention or respect or hope or forgiveness or what it is. And it is possible that in that whole configuration, there is an area where you're not as active as you would want to be. Then it becomes your self-governed education process. Because it is possible that in that area where you are not giving, you may be experiencing stuckness also. So that you don't do it because anybody told you you have to. You know what you have to do. I don't. I know what I have to do. I know where I'm stuck. I know where I have to start practicing. And I learned at the center that when I practice something, I make a routine out of it, bring it into my daily affairs, then like magic, I become better at it. Who'd have thought? Let us pray. There is only one life. That life is divinity. We use the word life to refer to that which is without beginning and end, the eternal, that which is everywhere present, the energy of creation, the mind out of which creation emerges. We call it whatever name helps us to recognize it as the architect of our lives, the original artist, the beginning, the middle, the end, the all in all, the thing itself, so that as we recognize it, we may feel a strong identity with it and understand deeply that we move and breathe and have our being within the thing itself, that indeed even the thought of our prayer is happening within the mind itself, that the love of our hearts is a reflection of the self-givingness of the universe, so that when we speak our prayer, we do it from this humble recognition of the power that flows through us. And so we use it wisely to let our thoughts and our words and our action reflect the highest ideal of love, to serve the world, to contribute, to step forward towards living a life in a world where we cherish, respect, and appreciate one another. Nurture our earth and all the beings on it, so that we are lifted up and clarified by the word of our prayer. We give thanks for the spiritual laws that govern the universe, not because we have to, but in so doing we are reminded that it is effortless the way prayer works, that already through the speaking of this word we are being changed. We are being renovated in consciousness, and it is so good that it is so. We are ready, the world is ready, and it is done. And together we say, and so it is. And I invite you to breathe in with me.